Hello, hello, our incredible Tony Robbins community and family. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Hi, guys. Get some energy in your body. It is time for today's special mini training, the 5 keys to transforming your life. How are you feeling out there? Woo! Hello, our beautiful Tony Robbins community from all across the globe. We've got our friends on Zoom and YouTube. If you're live, put live inside the chat box. Welcome, everybody. Hello. Whoa, yes. Well, hello, our incredible Tony Robbins family. Welcome to today's special live mini training. We are so excited for you to be here. We actually have probably over 1 million of you that will see this training. And I have to say, it is such a profound gift that we have the ability. How cool is it with this virtual ability we have to connect with each other from all across the globe? And if you go in the chat right now, you're going to see people from everywhere. Type in the chat if you're in Zoom or you're on YouTube. I can see your faces if you're with us live in Zoom, where you're tuning in from, because this is a global community from everywhere. So we have people in Florida, Croatia, Atlanta, Canada, Israel, Arkansas, Maine, Germany, Mexico, Australia, Indianapolis. And the really cool thing is that this training today is something that the community has asked for a very long time. And if there's one person that's going to deliver, who's that person? It's Mr. Tony Robbins. So today, we have a very special gift. And before I even get into training, we're going to bring Tony to the stage in just a brief moment. First and foremost, we have a couple celebrations that are in order. I'm not sure if you know this, but today, my friends, is a reunion. Put reunion in the chat box, okay? A mere 65 days ago, we met a lot of you at an experience called the Become Unshakable, what? Shout it out. Challenge. If you were at the challenge, put "that was me" inside the chat box. 65 days ago, we met so many of you, and many of you met Tony and his body of work for the very first time. We also have a beautiful group of you that recently graduated from one of Tony's events called Unleash the Power Within. You went full out for 4 days. Raymond Peterson, I see you. Diana Turkskin. If that was you, put UPW in the chat box. And first and foremost today, we want to welcome you back to this experience. We want to welcome you back to the community. We want to welcome you back to a container for you to train and you to create a life that's really worth living. So what is this experience today all about? You guys saw it, the 5 keys to transforming your life. And it all roots down to one word. And if you type this in the chat box for me, I'd be so grateful. That word is momentum. The truth is, all of us, myself included, oh, by the way, hi, my name is Carissa. I've met pretty much all of you, but I'll be your host for the next 3 minutes, and then we're bringing Tony up. But my job is really for you to know, what today's about. And today's about one word, and that is momentum. And the truth is that all of us collectively, whether we were here from the challenge or you were with Tony at Unleash the Power Within, we have all had what we call a peak experience with Tony. So by a show of hands, or put "oh yes" in the chat box, who had an experience, whether it was at the challenge or UPW, that expanded your awareness of what is possible for you in my life. And oftentimes, I'm saying myself included because I'm in this community with you guys, I have these moments of epiphany, let me know if you agree, where I'm like, holy smokes, this is really going to change my life. Who had a moment like that? This awareness, this discovery, these lessons, these distinctions. I knew from that moment in time, life would never what? Be the same. And then this other thing happens where sometimes we just we're riding that high and then we might lose a little momentum. If you've ever lost a little momentum, put a hand up in the air. I know some of you have your hands like this and you're like so lazy. You can't even get it all the way up in the air because you're like, I don't know, maybe I did it. But the truth is it happens to all of us. Who's ever lost their momentum? Life kind of gets in the way. The normal way that we are, our patterns, our habits come back in and we might fall off course, especially if you were with us 65 days ago. A lot's changed since late January. And this, for many of you, the feedback we got was, oh my gosh, thank you for having another experience because I felt like I was too distant from the community. I needed another opportunity to get in here. And that's what today's about. So the question is, you tell us in the chat box, is losing momentum normal? Yes or no? It actually is. A lot of people lose momentum, but is it natural? No. Write this down. Tony always says that human beings are wired for growth. The most natural thing for all of us is to grow and to expand consistently without having these peaks and these valleys and dropping off. And what gets in our way, what causes these values, is a lack of a daily discipline, a lack of practice, a lack of listening or being in an environment and continuing this training. And those are our old patterns of thoughts, beliefs, behaviors. If you know what I'm saying right now, give me a wave or put "oh yes" in the chat box. And that's what unites us all. We're not afraid to admit that we need to get back into the arena. So today, Tony is going to share with us his personal 5 keys that he uses himself for getting back on track and then staying there, not falling off, not vacating an opportunity to be in community, to be in training. And so what's going to happen is we're going to do about probably 45 minutes to an hour of training. Who knows? Tony's standard time. You guys get the deal because you've been with us before. But I'm going to bring up Tony to the screen in 60 seconds from now. And he's also going to be making a very special announcement at the end of the day today that we have been waiting to provide for you guys. I am so unbelievably excited about this day. So make sure you're here all the way until the end. Are you worth it for 45 minutes? Yes? This is the shortest freaking Tony event we've ever had in the history of the universe, by the way. Our longest one is 50 hours, and even that goes later. So we're excited for this bite-sized opportunity to connect. So a couple quick tips, and let's get into it. Number 1, please close out all of your distractions. If you're with us live in Zoom, I can see you. If your camera's not on, turn your camera on and engage with one another. Be in the community. Get inside the chat box. It's way too easy to coast. Has anyone ever gotten results from coasting? Heck no, nobody. So let's give our all today and give us the gift of focus. If you're managing, a ton of babies and kiddos and work, bring everybody with you here for the next 45 minutes and make this the thing you engage in. But let's be 100% focused. If you're up for that, put "oh yes" in the chat box. Tip number 2, take notes like freaking crazy. These are the 5 tips that Tony uses himself and he has been using his entire life. And success leaves clues. Put that in the chat box. If there's someone that has been where you want to go, sharing the method they use to get there, I'm saying yes to that. If you would say yes to that, put yes in the chat box. So today, let's take notes, let's capture this, let's plug it into our lives. And then finally, my 3rd tip is playful out. Like, why not? You're here at this event. Give everything that you have, energy, attention, focus, and most importantly, a willingness to be open. Let's quickly just unzip our mind for a second. Just do it with me. Just unzip the mind, peel it open, and say, I'm willing to receive something new today. That I know mind, like I've heard that, I know that. It doesn't get us anywhere, but when we're so open to receiving, we can go further faster. Are we a community here today? Yes or yes? I know we don't know each other, but can we be a team for the next 45 minutes? Then let's crank our bodies for 10 seconds, and then we'll get Tony to the stage. So shake out the body. If you're physically capable of standing, go ahead and stand up. Okay, if you're physically capable, we'll do quick 5 seconds of energy, and then we'll bring Tony to the screen. 3, 2, 1, hit it! Come on! That's it! Beautiful energy, my friends! Welcome back, welcome back! Shake that body out, shake out the day, shake out the week. Oh, yes, please help me welcome to the stage, Tony Robbins!
Thanks, everybody, for the warm welcome. Listen, I just want to thank you all and congratulate you. I know so many of you, 1.5 million of you from almost every country in the world, 195 countries, all the countries the UN recognized, participated in the challenge in January. And I had a chance to see, your Facebook posts each day and how you're making progress and what you were doing. And I just want to thank you for playing so full out and also for supporting each other. And I know, though, after time, things drift a little bit. It's just you lose momentum. It's part of the process. It's like working out. You got to do it daily, right? So I want to give you a quick little mini training real fast. Just 5 little points that I think can help you to maximize and keep that momentum going and getting the results you want in your life. And if you just want to unleash the power within, I know your results. I've been reading those. Those have been so inspiring. The transformations in your relationships, in your business, in your finances, in your in your money, financial, emotional areas, all the areas that matter most spiritually. It's been gorgeous to read and gorgeous to see. So I know you already have momentum, but I figure these are just 5 quick keys that'll be helpful. And then I want to give you a quick announcement of something really exciting. So please stick around for the end here so I can share that announcement with you as well. But let me just add some value to you in a simple way. We're living in challenging times, right? You know, we made it through COVID. We got lots of inflation, and there's always something to be concerned about, something to be stressed about, because we're in a season called winter. Winter doesn't last forever. No, pandemic lasts forever. No war lasts forever. It doesn't matter what it is. Things come to an end, they change, and something new is created. But in order to make it through those times when it seems dark and challenging, we got to maximize our skills. And it's the skills to control our own mind, our own emotions, and our own results, our actions, which is where our results come from. And so I thought I'd share with you that when I was really just getting started, when I was really young, I was 17 years old. I was really obsessed with trying to find ways to improve my life. And part of that was I grew up in a really tough environment. Some of you know I had 4 different fathers, a pretty intense mom who I love dearly. She's since passed, but when she used drugs and alcohol, the mixture of those two, prescription drugs and alcohol, change your personality, make things pretty tough. So I grew up in a tough environment. But the good news about that tough environment is it made me look for answers. It didn't let me settle. It made me hungry. And if you ask me, what's the single most important element of someone's success? Well, obviously, intelligence is fairly important, right? Really, I love wickedly smart people. But there are lots of smart people that can't fight their way out of a paper bag. And the reason is because it's not enough to be smart. You have to be hungry to be more, to do more, to create more, to want to contribute more to the world, to not settle. And if you're watching me right now and listening to me right now, you obviously have that mindset, or you wouldn't pop on this little mini training here, this little conversation that we're having right now. So when I was 17 years old, I went to this seminar, some of you know, by Jim Rohn, this personal development speaker. And I know many of you probably heard of him. He passed away many years ago. But he taught me some really fundamental things. He taught me that for things to get better, you've got to get better. For things to change, you've got to change. You can't just hope. Hope is not a strategy. And he taught me the idea that success leaves clues, that if you want to be really successful at anything, you can find somebody who's super successful, figure out what they do differently than you, and do that. If you sow the same seeds, you'll reap the same rewards. So I remember going to a seminar. I was 17 years old. I scraped together the money. It was $35. It'd be like $250 in today's money for a little 3-hour seminar. And I was on fire, man. I was so excited. I was 17 years old. I'm going to go change the world. And of course, then I ran into some challenges because, in my family, there were quite a few conflicts. And one night, my mom decided to kick my father out, my fourth father. And she was a powerful lady. And my dad left, and I talked back a little bit, I get, was the perception. I was just defending my dad. And so my mom chased me out of the knife. She chased me out of the house on Christmas Eve with a knife. And I knew she wasn't going to hurt me or kill me, but I wasn't going back in that house. And so it's Christmas Eve, it's raining, and I got to figure out what to do. I have nothing. I should kept my 1960 Volkswagen, earned it $40 a week as a janitor. And I decided I'll spend the night on top of this hill, this base little mountain nearby. And of course, then it rained. So I'm trying to stay warm under a tree, wrapped in these little blankets that I grabbed. And so the next night I went to a girlfriend's house, a girl that was a friend, not a girlfriend. And her parents let me stay in their laundry room. And I was depressed. I felt like my younger brother is 5 years younger, my sister's 7 years younger. They were the love of my lives, and they were separated from them. I was separated from my family, and I didn't know what to do. And I thought back on Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn had this philosophy, and I remember him sharing. He said, one of the most important things you have to every day is stand guard at the door of your own mind. That somehow you've got to train your mind to think the right thoughts, because all of our emotions come from our thinking. All our relationships come from our emotions. All of the results, all of our actions come from our emotions and decisions. So if you can take control of that, you can change your whole life. And I remember when he was with me, when I was sitting there that night, feeling so depressed, it's like, I've got to change my life. What do I got to do? I got to take control of my mind. And so the first thing I did was I took a little bit of cash I had. I had about, I don't know, 20, 30 bucks, 20, 23, 24, $25, something like that. And I took these buses to this bookstore that was about, I don't know, 20, 25 minutes away. And it was a spiritual bookstore I'd been to once. And I just felt like I'm going to find a book there that's going to change my life. Because Jim Rohn had always said, leaders are readers. And I picked up this book called The Magic of Believing by Claude M. Bristol. And in this book, I read every page over and over again. It talked about how to program your mind, how to condition your brain and your thinking. And you should write your goals on a mirror and look through at yourself at those goals and see your own eyes and absorb that. And I made these posters that said, only a loser is depressed. Now, that's not true. People get depressed who are not losers. But to me, I was not a loser. So I use that as leverage to make changing myself a must and not let myself stay depressed. And, Jim Rohn, when I met him, he had this really interesting philosophy. He said, think about it this way, Tony. He says, because I was telling him about my life and I was having all these challenges and, reaching out, trying to get some way of getting some help to go to work for him. And he said, Tony, people get what they have to have. But you have to train your mind. You're just settling for so much. And he said, you can tell me all these things, but who are you spending time with? Who's feeding your mind? And I told him a few people. He goes, well, they're the wrong people to hang out with. He said, think of it this way, Tony. What if your worst enemy drops sugar in your coffee? What's going to happen? I said, you're going to have sweet coffee. He said, what if your best friend or a family member or somebody that really loves you by accident, not intentionally, drops one drop of strychnine in your coffee? I said, you'd be dead. He goes, that's right. So life is both sugar and strychnine, so you got to watch your coffee. He said, every day, stand guard at the door of your mind. And what that means, Tony, is you have to feed your mind. Whatever you feed it is what you experience. And he said, the more you feed it the right things, the stronger you'll become, the more decisive, the more clear. But you can't let the world feed you that. Because most of us know at this point, the media, they're not bad people. They're just doing their job. What is their job? It's to get our attention, right? The news is not designed to inform us anymore. It's designed to startle us because we're not in an information age. There's too much information, right? People are drowning in information. They're starving for wisdom. And so he said, you've got to go pursue it. Like great ideas are not going to interrupt you, Tony. He said, the stuff that's going to interrupt you, like today, it comes to your phone, right? We call it clickbait. It's just something designed to grab your attention. No, get a book, he said. You need to make this your discipline. He said, every day you got to feed and strengthen your mind. Stand the guard at the door of your mind. Don't let other things in and feed it. And he said, the way you do it is you get books and you read at least 30 minutes a day. He goes, miss a meal, don't miss your 30 minutes because that's the fabric you're going to feed your life from. He used to say something humorous. He said, Tony, if you want to be successful and you want to be happy, you don't want to be fulfilled, he said, find out what poor people read and don't read it. He said, I don't mean poor just financially. Do you ever notice how mad people get more mad, angry people get more angry, sad people get more sad, happy people tend to get more happy? He said, you got to find out what they're doing different than you are. And if you keep feeding your mind on a daily basis, it'll accumulate. And pretty soon you'll be thinking differently than everyone else. You'll make different decisions. You'll have a completely different life. Plus, one thing I learned over the years is if you want to be happy, what's going to make you really happy? There's no thing will make you happy. He always taught me, Tony, what you get won't make you happy. Who you become will make you really happy or really sad. And it's not just getting there. Like, if you don't protect your mind, you can achieve something and still be depressed. I'm sure you know people that achieved everything and took their own lives. So it's not enough. What makes us really happy is one word: progress. Progress equals happiness. If you can find a way to keep making progress daily, you are going to feel on fire. Even if you want to lose 30 pounds, you only lose the first 3 or 4 pounds. Just those first 3 or 4 pounds will give you momentum. Plus, whenever you achieve a goal, how long do you stay happy? How long? A week, a month, a year, 6 months, 10 years? No. Most people, that joy or happiness of their achievement lasts a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, or a few months at most. Isn't it true? And the reason is we're not designed to sit at the table of success too long or we get bored and fat. What we really need is to make progress, to keep growing, because when we grow, we have more to give. And when we give, our life is really meaningful. So for me, the first and most important lesson of all was really that success leaves clues and the answers are out there. And I decided I'm going to read a book a day. I took a speed reading course and I didn't read a book a day, but I read about 700 books, a little more than that, over 7 years. And I did it because I wanted to feed my mind. I found books on philosophy, on psychology, on physiology, how you could change your body, anything that I thought could improve my life. And what I did was I committed to not just read, but to apply what I was reading. Find one thing I could apply and do something with it. Because Jim Rohn used to always say, if you let your learning lead to knowledge, you become a fool. If you let your learning lead to action, you can change your whole life and you can help others do the same. And so for decades and decades, I did this. Now, after a while, I found it hard to get that 30 minutes in. You might find it hard to get those 30 minutes in because I spent time in my car driving to and from the places I was working, which was usually somewhere between 45 minutes an hour each way. And so gradually I started using audio. And now that's easy, but back then it was hard. It's like, where do I get these things that are going to teach me? You couldn't go on YouTube and just get stuff for free, which I had to go down and literally drive down in my little Volkswagen. I got a 1968 Volkswagen. I upgraded and I went down to downtown Los Angeles, where there's this place called Night Education, Knight, like knight with a sword. And there's this man named Mario. He's this Jewish man, beautiful man that became my friend. He was an older man. And I came in my little pot belly. I was 5'1", believe it or not, little short, fat kid. And I said, I want to learn how to change my life. And he goes, well, I have everything here. And this is a day, those of you would not understand, we have these things called cassette tapes were a breakthrough. Before that, it was albums and 8 tracks. And you had these little cassette tapes that are really portable. You could listen to them on a little player. You could stick it in your car and play it. There weren't car players in those days, but just you could have a little handheld thing. And in those days, if you wanted to learn something, he had all the best teachers, psychologists, psychiatrists, motivational speakers. But it would be like $300 for 6 cassette tapes and like 3 workbooks. That was the price. And I was making, $40 a week as a janitor. And so I learned that I got to take the money I've saved and invest it in the most important investment of all, which is me. Jim Rohn taught me that there's nothing more important than investing in yourself. And it's ironic. A few years back when I was interviewing Warren Buffett, and I said, what's the single most important investment you've ever made? And I thought he was going to say Coca-Cola because I know his investments are Geico. And he goes, Tony, it's what you do. And I said, what do you mean what I do? I do a lot of things. And he said, it's investing in yourself. He said, I went to Dale Carnegie when I was a kid. He said, just a young man. And without the ability to learn how to communicate, all my other ideas would have been a waste. I wouldn't be who I am today. He said, and by the way, people talk about inflation. They're worried about inflation. Inflation, whatever percentage, 8, 9, 10%, less, more, who cares? As long as you become productive, inflation doesn't mean anything, right? If you become better, stronger, smarter, and what he said at the time was, he said, Tony, think about this. No one can tax the improvements you make on yourself. And those are things, when you invest in yourself, those are rewards you get to use, skills or abilities or emotions or thoughts. You can use those for the rest of your life. And he said, all you got to do is become 10% more productive. Well, people learn how to make twice as much money in the same time, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times, if they find a way to add value. So the first key of the 5 keys I want to give you is you've got to decide every day to feed your mind and strengthen it every day. 30 minutes a day. You can do it with audio. That's what I use most of the time because I can do it what I call net time, no extra time. I can do it while I'm driving in my car. I can do it while I'm working out. I'm doing it helping around the house. And so it allows me to turn like my car and do university on wheels. And so I really want to encourage you this. And if you're going to really make long-term change, you need some daily habits. Does that make sense? If you go to a program immersion, you're going to have explosive change, but then you need the daily habits to keep it growing. And those daily habits is that 30 minutes a day. Are you up for it? All right, good. So by the way, that process of feeding my mind has an accumulative effect. As I mentioned, it stacks and it stacks. Just like if you know finance, if you keep building, you hit a place called critical mass where you have so much value that you're financially free. Well, the same thing happens with your own mind and psychology. But besides feeding and strengthening your mind, the second key you got to do every single day is feed and strengthen your body. And that's not just so you're healthy. It's because your mind and your body work as one. Think about it. Fear is physical. Have you ever been so uptight, so worried, so stressed, so fearful that it's like you had a hard time swallowing or you felt that feeling in your gut? Well, that's physical. So is courage. Fear is physical, but courage is also. Think about it. Courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. Courage means you're afraid, but you did it anyway. You pushed through it. You found that strength inside yourself. And courage is a habit. It's something that could be trained, but you got to be physical to do it. And I learned this from my teachers, not only Jim Rohn, but I really learned this when I started studying neurolinguistic programming, NLP, with the co-founder, John Grinder. He taught me that the way you use your body completely wires the way your emotions work as well. So while you're feeding your mind, you got to strengthen that body. Now, some of you know I have a daily discipline, and the first thing I do each day is I jump in this freezing cold water. I'm fortunate enough to have multiple homes, and in each of those homes, I do that. And the water is 56 degrees. At my place in Sun Valley, Idaho, I just had some of my platinum partners there, and we had a party that night, and we all walked through the snow and jumped into the freezing water and got out. Now, this is not designed to be torture, but number one, it has a huge physical effect on your body. It instantly changes the flow through your entire body, moves the lymph in your body. So it's really powerful. And it never feels good going in. I've never had a day where I was like, I can't wait to go in the cold water. Never, right? But I do it every day and I don't hesitate. Why? Because I'm training my brain not only to change my body, but to be in charge of my own mind, right? By using my body, I'm training my brain to say, there's no hesitancy. I don't negotiate with myself. I don't go, well, in a minute when I'm ready, or maybe tomorrow. It's just like, when I say go, we go. And I've done that so often that my nervous system, when I say I'm going to make something happen, it doesn't hold back. It just knows I mean it, and we go for it. So that's just one daily discipline. But maybe it's a workout for you, or maybe it's just something you do. It doesn't have to be like your 30-minute, 40-minute hour workout. Maybe that's a few days a week, whatever you do for working out. But it's something you can do for as little as a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It could be a super strong walk or a nice sprint or in the freezing water or lifting some weights. Something where you have to push yourself beyond what you're comfortable with. Because every time you do that, you build mental, emotional, spiritual muscle, not just physical muscle. Because the mind and body work together. So come up with a daily practice that you're going to do. Something can be really brief, but it's designed to snap you into the strongest state, put you in a state where you push through limitation and fear, because that's the only thing that stops us. Right? We can all get through anything. I know achievers aren't fearful, they just get stressed, right? But stress is the achiever word for fear. When you're stressed about something, I'm stressed about getting this done. Why? Well, if I don't get it done, it'll fall apart. Well, what if it falls apart? Well, then it'll fail. What if it fails? Then I'm a failure. Forget all that. If you feed your mind every single day, just 30 minutes, and you give yourself something, 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, every day, at least 6 days a week, physical, where you're pushing through, where you feel that blood pump and that strength, I'm telling you, it'll change your life more than anything else. And by the way, these are the 5 things I did not only when I first was kicked out of my house, but I did this again in 2008 when the world financial crisis hit and I had all these companies and many of them looked like they're going to go bankrupt. Because overnight, the government wasn't supplying money like they did after COVID. It was just a total upside down of the world. Some of you remember that year. And fortunately, none of the companies went under, but it was unbelievably stressful. So I did the same thing. I started feeding my mind. I made my body strong. Went back to these same fundamentals. Key number 3, real quick. You need to find yourself some great role models. Role models make your dreams real. And a role model is not a perfect person. When I was growing up, the biggest thing that seemed to be the problem in my family was money. One of the reasons I feed 100 million people a year, and I've already fed over 1 billion people through Feeding America. Now I'm working on my 100 billion meal challenge. It's not because I'm such a good person. I love to say that. It's I know what it feels like to suffer, and I don't want anybody else to suffer. And so I want to find answers. And early on in my life, my mom kept divorcing fathers of mine. And it was always, we had no money. So I figured money is what destroys relationships. You got to have abundance. And of course, later on in life, I realized that if my family had money, my parents still would have broken up. It was more than just money. But when money isn't handled, when it's a challenge, it can affect your health. It can affect your relationship, all kinds of things. So I decided I was going to master money. And in order to do that, I needed some role models because it seemed impossible to me. Because there was no one in my family or extended family that had done well financially. No one. I had no reference for that. I only read about rich people and things like that. And many people around me had all these judgments about them. And I was like, well, they can't be that bad a person if they built companies and businesses and employed people and provide scholarships and everything else. And so I started to dig again by reading. That was my way of leaving the limited world I was in. And then I went to say, who are role models I could study? And so I found Sir John Templeton, and he wasn't Sir when he started. He was just John Templeton. He from humble roots, but he was a man who became a self-made billionaire, the first self-made billionaire by investing, starting with nothing. And the way he did it is his parents taught him 2 things. Number 1, you're going to save 50% of all you earn. Now, when you teach a kid to do that when they're a kid, they develop the habits, and he managed to do that. Today, people would say, well, that's impossible. Nothing's impossible. But the most important thing they taught him was the psychology. And this is what I learned from him. I got a chance to study him. And then when I was 30 years old, I got to meet him, interview him. And then I did one of the last interviews before he died, about 4 days before he died. So I got to know the man well. And he's a beautiful man who not only was very wealthy, a billionaire, but he was a man who donated so much money and time and energy to spiritual practices. He donated more than a Nobel Prize for his Templeton Prize that's still out there for people to make the biggest difference spiritually, regardless of what their religion is. And so, a beautiful man. But the bottom line is, his family taught him, and he learned that you need to know that the worst times don't last forever. No, everything is cyclical. It's like seasons. There's winters, and then winters followed by springtime. After the worst night, you have a daytime, right? After all the horrible things, beauty happens. That's the cycle of life. And then things go easy when it's springtime, and then it's kind of a hot summer that tests you, and then there's a great fall. We get rewarded, and then there's a winter again. That's the way season works. And that's what happens within our lives. And so they taught him, you're going to make all your money if you keep your head straight during times of maximum pessimism. When everybody's pessimistic, you can take a small amount of money and earn an enormous amount because you can invest in things. When things are going really well, people want more than their house is worth. They want more than their business is worth. When things are going through the floor and everybody thinks it's the end of the world, it's never the end of the world. It just seems like it. Never lasts. Like I said, no war lasts forever. No recession or depression lasts forever in history. No pandemic lasts forever. Well, it may last longer than you want, but not forever. And now on the other side is beautiful times. And so he learned to do that. And I learned from him, and it became a role model. So he showed me there was a way, starting with nothing, that I could add value to people's lives, and I could also learn to be an investor, and I could grow. So role models aren't perfect, and you might want several, and you're not looking for perfection. Study what they do. Some people are great in their business, terrible with their kids. Don't model that. Find somebody who's great with their kids and model them. That's where the 6 less leaves clues comes. Okay, quickly. Number 4, I said I'd do these fast. Number 4 is, you really want to find yourself in a place where you get yourself to no longer just think, but you take action. Like, if someone said to you, I know this self-made billionaire who has spent 30 years of their life studying how to improve businesses or improve their life, or I know this person who's lost 40 pounds and kept it off for 10 years, and they're willing to share with you exactly what they did. Well, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you take advantage of it? You and I would, but most people don't. And you and I invest in ourselves. Most people won't. They say, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. They come up with every reason. But one of the things I learned early on is there's no excuse for not taking action. That if you want to be rewarded in this life, when an opportunity shows up, grab it. Grab it by the hair. Don't let it go. Not every opportunity is going to be great. But if you don't take advantage, if you don't say, there's a reason this is in front of me right now and I got to do something with it, then it just becomes knowledge, it becomes interesting, and your life doesn't change. Action, massive action is what changes your life. And some people are afraid to take action because they go, I don't know the right thing to do. Well, it's better to take action and see whether it works or not. And if it doesn't, try something different than to sit here and just contemplate what you want to do in the future. So one of the great things I got from Jim Rohn was really the importance of action. If you're not sure what to do something, find a role model, find out what they did first, do the same thing. If you don't know where to start, throw the rock up where it lands, talk to the next person who walks by. You're the first person off the rock, I got to ask you something, right? Anything to get momentum going, but massive action is the cure-all. And here's the final step, real fast. And that is, you've got to make sure that if you want an extraordinary life, a life that's meaningful, a life where you're proud, a life where you feel a sense of grace, yes, you must grow. That's what all these other things make us do. But also you must give. And it's not a must give, because when you grow, you want to give. When you grow, you have the gift of something to give someone that's valuable. And early in my life, I realized, my God, there's certain areas of life that really matter. And most people major in minor things. You know what I mean? They know more about some celebrity's sex life than they know about their own mind, their body, their emotions, their relationships, their business, their career, or their spiritual part of their life. And so I thought, those are the areas that matter, right? It's your body, it's your emotions, it's the sense of meaning in life, it's relationships. That's where all the joy and happiness comes from. It's your career or your work, or hopefully it's your mission, your calling. It's really mastering your finances so you're free. And it's being able to celebrate and contribute that makes life so meaningful. And if you really focus on those areas, I decided that's what life's about. And I want to learn from the very best in every one of those areas. But then also, a lot of people say, well, yeah, I got to work on me. And then you get trapped in yourself. So you got to balance that by giving back. And a lot of people, I have a friend, Mike Keys, who I've known for 44 years, I think. We both went to Jim Rohn's seminar back when I was 17. He was, I think, 23 at the time. and we were both broke. He was a little less broke than I am. He could pay for the hotel room. And the seminar back in those days was, just it was just what was it, 3 day seminar, 3.5 day seminar, all day, all night, showing you leadership skills, management, time management, all these different tools. And I had to borrow $1,200 to go there. It would be like $12,000 today if you look at inflationary dollars. And went to a bank, didn't have the right ability to do it, convinced them to loan me the money, took $1,200. It was such a huge investment, man. When I was in that seminar, Mike and I met, and Mike let me stay in his room because I would have been sleeping in my car otherwise, because literally I took every penny I had to go to the seminar. And when I was in the seminar, because I invested so much, it's like I didn't miss a thing. I didn't go to pee. I just sat there. If he said the, I wrote the down. In fact, at one point, I found out every word was worth like 3 cents. It's not going to miss anything. But what's so interesting is both of us grew like crazy. And the other day, Mike was telling me he was on an airplane and somebody was reading one of my books. I think it was Life Force. And he was sitting beside him. And the guy looked over and said, have you seen this guy? Have you ever heard about this guy, Tony Robbins? And he goes, yeah, I think I heard a little about. What? Tell me about him. He goes, wow, he's amazing. He's got these tools and I've learned these things and changed my body and my mind. And he's really philanthropic also. He does all these great things. And he said, but of course he's rich, so that's easy. And Mike said, really, you think he does that just because he's rich? He said, what would you say if I told you I'd known him since he was 17 years old? And I can remember he was 17, he had no money, and he took the little bit of money he had and went out and fed 2 families for Thanksgiving. He said, what if I told you the next year he did 4 and then 8? And now you read about him doing 100 million meals a year, 1 billion meals. It's like, the thing what Tony would say to you, and it is what I say to all of you, is if you won't give a dime out of $1, you're sure as heck not going to give 1 million out of 10 million or 100 million out of 1 billion. Is not going to happen. But there's something more magical. It's not about the money. I remember I was interviewing Sir John Templeton and I was asking, what's the secret to wealth? And he said, you teach it, Tony. I've heard this many times. I said, well, I teach a lot of things again, just like Warren had said to me. I said, well, but what aspect of what I teach? He said, Tony, it's really what you talk about of adding value. But what makes you really wealthy is gratitude and appreciation. He said, if you can give when it's uncomfortable, he goes, that's where you're going to grow. He goes, I don't know a single person who practiced tithing, giving 10% of what they earn, who hasn't become wealthy within 5 to 10 years. Not a single person in my lifetime. And he goes, I did it. And he said, but most people say they're going to do that when it's comfortable. They're going to do it when it's ready. And he said, the other part you need besides the giving is just the gratitude. He goes, if you got $1 billion and you're angry all the time, your life is angry. But if whatever you have, you're really grateful for it every single day, your family, your health, your vitality, whatever, your opportunities, he said, then you're really a wealthy man. And I can remember I had done this, thank God, so I could relate to this at the time when I was really struggling. I'd gone to work for Jim Rohn. I succeeded and then had a real challenging time. Anytime you start a new business, that tends to happen. You have some learnings. And I was feeling just beaten to the ground and exhausted. And I was like, God, why is this not working? I've given my all. And I was focused on me. And I realized it's because I'm focused on me now. I've started out being focused on everybody else. Now I'm focused on what I'm not getting. And I remember I pulled over on the side of the road and I still have to this day this journal, a full page, a written journal I wrote, The Secret to Living is Giving. And I started to cry and it started to change my life. And a few weeks later, I had almost no money. And without telling you the whole story right now, I gave away the last, $21.19 change, whatever it was that I had, to a person that needed it. And I wasn't going to have money for food. I wasn't even worried about it. It was this weird thing. It's suddenly by giving, I was freed. I was freed from scarcity. I know people that are billionaires that are still scarce, meaning they still worry about stuff. They have more money than they could ever spend because you don't ever get beyond scarcity. You start beyond it. It's a decision. So if you can, what I'd encourage you to do is go help somebody who's worse off than you. If you think your life's in a tough place, find somebody tougher and help them. Or take your kids and go to a food shelter and feed people for even an hour once a month. If you do it, it'll change your life forever. Because number one, it'll remind you how lucky you are. And number two, it'll remind you that you're here to give. And when you're a giver instead of a taker, boy, life becomes so much more beautiful. And these 5 simple little things, every day, feeding and strengthening your mind. 30 minutes a day, audio or reading, but going getting something conscious, not the crap that comes to you on your phone, not clickbait, not something that's going to pull you down a rabbit hole on some social media element. something conscious that's going to make you grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, or give you new skills. And then if every day you do something to strengthen and feed that body of yours to make it stronger, something that pushes it, even just for a few minutes. And by the way, one of the things you can do also each day, I do, is called priming. And if you want, I'll give you a little gift. Go to tonyrobbins.com/priming, PRIMING. And there's a 10-minute process I do every single day to prepare my mind for the day. It's called priming. I encourage you to do it. But if you do that, and you do that with your body, and then you find some great role models, that'll help you make your goals real. And then you take massive action, keep changing your approach, and you give much more than you expect to receive, it's impossible. It doesn't always come back from the person you gave to, by the way. Well, you're busy noticing they're not giving, and someone back here is giving you something you're not noticing, It's just the beautiful cycle of life. So I hope that you'll look at these as 5 daily habits. Because when people ask me, like, what do you do to stay in this place? Well, it's not like I went to a seminar once, 45 years ago, 46 years ago, and then my life was perfect. That'd be like saying I worked out once and now I'm fit for life. No. If you have a great life, you have daily practices, right? So here's what I do. One, people in my seminars know this. I always teach on the last day. I, once or twice a year, do some form of immersion seminar somewhere. I've done crazy things. I had no sleep, no time, but I lock these in once a year. Something's going to make me grow. One of the more intense ones was I went for 7 days and they put these electrodes on your head and measure you. And I go for 12 hours in a day in this dark room so I could train my mind to use alpha thinking. Alpha thinking puts you in a gorgeous state where you're able to find great solutions. It's a part of your brain. I do these things still. So I do something once or twice a year like that. And then the most important thing I do is I have coaches. In my case, I have 4 of them. They're all 18 to 20 years my senior. They're all geniuses in their right mind, because even though I know a ton, we all need somebody we can bounce off of just briefly. Once a month or twice a month, 20, 30 minutes, but where you're being held accountable, but also where you're learning from someone who's already done it. Just what I've learned for over my life. That's how you keep making major progress. But the most important thing is a daily practice. It's making sure you have something you're doing every day that you do that makes you stronger, wiser, more loving, more passionate, more alive, more healthy, and more on target for what matters. Because otherwise, the world will pull your attention. Because remember, we don't experience life. We experience the life we focus on. And what's wrong is always available, and there's someone who's going to show it to you. But so is what's right. What's right is always available. Solutions are always available. But if you have these kind of daily practices, you'll create that momentum. So I hope these 5 things. Are you willing to do them? 20, 30 minutes a day, no less than 20, 30 minutes a day, reading or audio. 2, at least 5, 10 minutes, ideally 15 to 20 minutes, to get your body strong every day. A simple practice that you're going to do. 3, find those role models and study them. 4, put a massive action plan together and do the first thing. If it doesn't work, just change your approach. Doesn't work, change again. Find a good role model and you'll know the shortcut of how to get there quicker. And then finally, give more than you expect to receive. All right? So listen, here's my announcement. I was thinking a lot about reading some of you, and especially some of you that went to the challenge. You got this great momentum, and that was January. Now some time has gone by, and guess what? There's a momentum starts to drop a little bit. It's natural. That's why you got to retrain. It's like building a muscle. And so I thought about, for a lot of people, it's like trying to go to an event seems like a lot. Now we've made them now, you can do them in your home, and we've made the price point so much lower because you don't have to travel and do hotels and things of that nature. But I want to do something where no one is left behind. And so for years, people have said, Tony, I put all this stuff for free on YouTube and people listen to it every day. But the challenge is it's just random, something to inspire you. And I think inspiration is great. That's why I've put it out there for people. But I've spent my life building systems to get results. You don't get results just by being inspired. It's a good first step. But, being pumped up is wonderful. But, an excited chicken with their head cut off is not going to do well. We need very specific strategies to change our finances, very specific strategies to move up in our careers or in building our businesses, very specific strategies to transform our energy and our health and our vibrancy, very specific things to make your relationships not just okay and good, but passionate, right? And so for my life, what I've done is figure out who are the best in the world and study them to figure out what are they doing different than me or you or anyone else, and then put that into what I call an E-cubing format, a format where it's so entertaining, you're engaged, but you also are getting the second E, the best education, the tools that really work. And then while you're in state, getting you to do some small step If you do a small step every day, you get momentum. If you have to take one giant step, people tend to be overwhelmed. They're afraid of failing or it's not going to work. So I've built these systems over the years, and I've got literally hundreds of hours of programs on your body, on learning to master your time, on learning how to master your relationship, on what to do to make change, lasting change. People say, I lost 100 pounds, 10 pounds, 10 times, same 10 pounds. No, I'm talking about lasting change, where you make the change and it stays. And so those programs over the years have been built, and they're each about $300 each, and there's more than a dozen of them, 13 or 14. So here's what I've done. I decided, and people wanted me to coach them. And it's not practical. I coach maximum 7 people a year. I charge $1 million each to coach. I only coach them 3 times a year for about 90 minutes individually. But I'm able to produce great value. And I'm one of the people I've coached now for, 23 years, to give you an idea in that area. So here's what I've created. I've created something called the inner circle. Because people said for years, could you put something together and make all this available? And here's what it is, really simple. I've taken all of the programs, the audio-visual programs that I've built, and the systems of change, and put them so you have them available 24/7, 365 on an app. So no matter where you are, whenever you need it, I'm there with the tools you need. And so you can have that daily practice, something you do 20, 30 minutes a day with the very best of what we found. And literally more than 3 or 4 years worth of content for you if you did it every day, to give you an idea. It's that valuable. And then the second thing I did is I said I got everybody a group coach, so that once a month you can come on and be guided through one of those programs so you make really measurable results. And then the third part of that is really me joining you, just like this, 3 times a year in your home, to do a session and do Q&A about what's happening in the world, what's happening in your lives. And it's pretty phenomenal. I get to be here, invite you into my home, I get to be invited in your home, and literally do this 3 times a year so that you're getting this continuous input. And then finally, you're part of a community of people, of like-minded people that are committed to taking their life to the next level. So it's called the Tony Robbins Inner Circle. And here's the cool thing. It's got literally thousands of dollars of the value in it, of different programs that I built over the years, and the coaching and me. And the whole program is literally, so no one gets left behind, it's $97 a month, literally. And if you want to, and you pay for the year in advance, I think you save 33% or 3 months or something like that. They'll tell you on the screen. But if this appeals to you, if you'd like to keep the momentum going and you want a program that's going to give you the answers for each area of your life, and want to visit with me 3 times a year from your home, and want to be part of an incredible community and have coaching all at a price point that's lower than anything we've done before, then decide to join Inner Circle. And if you decide to join right now or within the next 72 hours, from the time this is put out, you'll be a founding member. And for the founding members, I'm taking 2 things. I have a program I do for all my companies, and it's called the Most Important Decision of Your Life. And it's a 3.5-hour program that I'm going to create for you to be able to attend in your home and to have a direct experience of. And then for those of you who are figuring like, how do I get all this in? How do you do it, Tony? You got 100 companies and your father and grandfather and all those things and a husband, and you got your businesses. Well, I have this program called RPM, and we have a version of it we're going to give you that's a simple version, but I'm going to this year do a program that I'm going to do for all the Inner Circle members that would normally be a $1,000 program by itself, and I'm going to invite you all to attend that program, the very first one I do, and show you how I manage all those areas of my life and give you the systems to do it. So if you decide to join, and you join within 72 hours, you'll get those 2 significant bonuses, being a founding member. And it's $97 a month, or whatever the amount is, paid in full there. You save 3 months or 33%. We'd love to have you. So I hope these 5 keys are valuable. If you decide not to be over Inner Circle, please apply those 5. And I hope that you decide to join me and that we can have an ongoing relationship like this. And I just want to thank you for your time. And I look forward to seeing you soon. And I'm going to throw you back to our team here and to KK. Sending you all my best. Live strong and live with passion.
Thank you so much, Tony Robbins. Let's give it up for this amazing man and to all of our community members in Inner Circle. Hi, Alan Geddes. Great to see you. Michael Carlos, good to see you. Leslie, hello. Whoa, yes. Okay, real quick, don't go anywhere. I've got about 2 minutes left with you here. Again, one more time for Tony Robbins. To bring us all back and give us this gift of keeping our momentum is such a privilege. And you heard him share all about the Inner Circle. This is a community I personally belong to, and I'm so over the moon excited that each of you have the ability to hear about it finally. And I want to remind you, you can go to tonysinnercircle.com right now and go actually get all of the information on your own. Everything Tony shared, if it went by a little quick, it's all on there. So just type that into your browser right now and head on over. But I will personally quickly just walk you through everything about the community. I love this community so much, and I'm grateful to answer your questions. I've been capturing and jotting down the questions I was able to pick up in the chat box on Zoom and YouTube. So let's just run through it. First things first, what is the Inner Circle? You guys, the core of it is the single best way to guarantee you do not fall off your path. Tony always says, no one left behind, and that's what this program is. It's the greatest self-growth and development training club on the planet. When I first met Tony, he was like, you need to take this phone and listen to all of these training programs. And it was all the courses he's developed over 46 years. And I'm so grateful that he gave me that gift. And that's what all of you have right now. And not just that, it's just one of the ways to be in this level of proximity with Tony, his teachings, his body of work, but actually also the human Tony himself. So Inner Circle gives you a lot of access. I'm going to go through this. I'll put some visuals up so you can see. If you want to take pictures or take notes, go ahead and do that. The first thing you're going to get is live mentoring from Tony 3 times a year. Majority of our community members in the Inner Circle, I love you guys all. We have some of you on right now. They literally are in the Inner Circle just for this, and everything else is like a bonus. For $97 a month, to work with Tony 3 times a year for 90 minutes is mind-blowing. People are on a wait list for 4 years to spend like 8 hours with the man, and it costs $1 million. You're going to have him 3 times a year from his living room. That's what's so mind-blowing. Our first event's coming up on May 11th, the next one coming up after this meeting, May 11th, live with Tony Robbins. And people start off like on the challenge, meeting him for the first time, and then they're in Tony's living room with him. Like, it's crazy. So you have that level of proximity. And in this next event, Tony's going to be tackling this mid-year slump. It's all about leadership. It's going to be off the charts. But also, he's doing live interventions. So those of you in Inner Circle, you're connecting with him. He actually might bring you up, like your faces are on the screen. He might say, Robin Valatudo, I see you. Hey. He might be like, come on up to the screen and let me talk to you live right now. To have this level of proximity to Tony Robbins is absolutely mind-blowing for the price of $97 a month. So just that alone is reason enough to have this connection. So go to tonysinnercircle.com and you can just get yourself enrolled today. We obviously have this special gift for you guys at $97 a month. And if you want to go all in for the year, you're going to get 3 months off of your enrollment. So a really good deal for you guys only for this event. But let's keep going because there's a lot of other really juicy things. The next piece I love, it's so close to my heart. You're going to get unlocked Tony's entire suite of training courses. What does that mean? Number one, it's on-demand access 365 days a year, 24/7, right in the palm of your hands on our app. When Tony talks about net time, would you put that in the chat for me really quick? N-E-T. Net time, that stands for it takes no extra time. And that's what he's talking about here with these 5 keys. He says, feed the mind every single day. And so these trainings, if you need a course on your physical body, he's got that. Business and sales, he's got that. You want to expand your financial literacy and make money your beast, you got that. Time management, you got that. You want to add more passion, more zest, more spunk to your relationships, he's got a course for that. And the great part is it's like Christmas presents. You open them up whenever you want, pop in your earbuds, and you listen throughout the day. And this is how you guarantee you're staying in the training to get the most out of this. I personally think what's most cool about it is the access piece. If you were like, yeah, add to cart, I need the business, yes, I need the relationships, and yes, I need the finance. If you were to get all of these, it would be over $2,500. The Inner Circle community gets all of that for your $97 a month. You literally get every single program starting today for $97. You just go to tonysinnercircle.com and you'll get immediate access literally starting right now. Next up, you're going to get your monthly live group workshops. And all these elements, you guys, are optionals. If you want to come, amazing. We'd love to have you because what you're doing is getting a Tony top coach that's going to guide you through this content. And this is where the magic happens. Every single month, you're going to come into community, just like we are here. Scroll through the Zoom room, see the other people that are committed to this level of dedication for your life. And a Tony coach is going to break down the content with you, help you decipher your action items, and hold you accountable. Because the truth is, let's just put a hand up in the air. If 65 days since the challenge, we've lost a little momentum. And maybe it would be helpful if you had someone trained, an expert, every single month to come back to and say, did I fall off? Am I on track? And how do I get back on track? And that's what Tony's providing. And then I think the best part of this all is the community. I'm smiling ear to ear because I'm a part of this amazing community and I see so many familiar faces. I've been friends with you guys for the last several months, but if you're anything like me, it's not like I was born and just plopped into this incredible friend group and incredible community of people that were living life unleashed on their terms, not settling for a life less than they can be, do, have, give, or share. Tony said, go find those people then. And I'm like, wow, what a concept, because proximity is power. So you're going to have that community. If you're someone flying solo in this journey and you want to have a family dedicated, this is the place to be. So again, tonysinnercircle.com, $97 gets you started, gets you access to everything. And this is Tony's mission, to change lives everywhere. And if you're going to our live events, you need time, you need money, you need resources. But his mission is not to change lives for people that have time, money, resources. It's for everyone. And so this inner circle is for ease and access. Ease, it's not a part-time job. You're going to show up 3 times a year. You're going to commit to doing these trainings. By a show of hands, who's committed to doing some trainings every single day? Staying in the arena, listening, learning, being active. Strategic courses Tony's designed over his lifetime. You don't have to see what pops up on YouTube. He's already done the work for you. And second is access. It's a price point, you guys, you cannot beat. This is a guy that trains presidents of the United States. It's insane we're alive at the same time as Tony, and we have the ability to be trained directly by him. So we get access to this instantly for literally $97. And again, I saw some questions come in about, is this the best deal? The best deal is actually if you pay for the full year. If you're someone like me that's like, I need to lock myself in for a year so I don't tinker off and fall off track and be like, oh, now I got to all the way come back. If you want 100% a full year to say, this is my year of transforming my life with lasting change, not flirting with my transformation, then go all in for 1 year and you'll get a little special gift of 3 months off. Isn't that pretty awesome? 3 months off. I loved that. So that's really the best deal if you want to go all in here. Otherwise, take this for a test drive. Get in at 97 bucks. You're in for 30 days. If it's not absolutely something you're head over heels in love with, reach out to our team and we'll refund you everything. But we want you to have the ability to have the experience, okay? So because Tony's Tony, you have heard him say he wants to add more value than anyone else, period. And so you're going to get 2 pretty amazing bonuses. He already talked about it, so I'll just cruise through these pretty quick, but I'll put some visuals up. The first bonus you're going to get instantly the moment you sign up is a training called the Ultimate Advantage Training. And Tony shared with you, he says this is a training about the most important decision you can make in your life. And when he does this for companies, he usually charges like 15 grand. The reason that you guys are going to be getting it completely free is because this will give you the emotional fitness to handle anything that comes your way. And the Inner Circle community is really about resilience, to stay in the arena, to stay connected, to be resilient no matter what this crazy world brings us, because it sure as heck has brought us some crazy stuff the last couple years. So instantly you guys will get that as soon as you sign up today. And the second gift right on here, Tony Robbins Rapid Planning Method app. Oh my gosh, where are my planners in the house? By a show of hands. And who are my people that wish you were a planner, but it's just not wired into you, okay? Now, Tony has over 106 companies. He's a grandfather. He's a father. He's an amazing husband. He works with millions of us every single year. I'm kind of like, how do you do it? And it's called RPM, the Rapid Planning Method. And he's so over the moon excited about this. You're going to get your hands on one of our preliminary versions of this app, and then later a training from Tony on this. So you'll get that right away to help you plan and design your life. And then not just that, I know, you're like even more. And listen, we're giving you one more thing as a bonus surprise because we want you to say yes. We want you to jump in. We are so confident in this community that some of you might say, you know what? I typically lose my momentum. And that's the single biggest reason, by the way, that people get off track is losing momentum. So, the one final thing we're going to add in, just to give you one more little gift, is a strategy session with one of our top coaches. And the reason this is important is it's going to help you decipher your customized plan. You've got an amazing year ahead of you. I haven't met all of you, but I do know we're on this earth to step into our purpose, to live a life unleashed, and you're all so worthy of that. Sometimes you need someone else that can just help you pick apart the pieces and set up a plan. So we're going to give you a coaching call to do that. So you're getting all of this. Let's just go through one more time so you can see it all top to bottom. Really, really easy. You're going to get 3 times a year with Tony. That's absolutely priceless. That's the reason, honestly, you should say yes right now, is to have that proximity to him, the opportunity to get a one-on-one coaching session intervention with him. These monthly workshops with our top coaches, and I'm at a couple of those, so I'll be able to see you guys. Our global community, this family of people ruthlessly dedicated to a life unleashed. All of the programs, I can't tell you how much value that is. It's Tony's life work in the palm of your hand. And then all 3 bonuses, you're going to get those immediately: the ultimate advantage, rapid planning, and also the one-on-one coaching session. And the last thing that I'll say is, I have been in your shoes where I was able to step foot into this community, and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I'm doing on Wednesday. Like, is this so much stuff? And the reason Tony gives you it in this capacity, like a whole bundle of things, as you see on the screen, is they're like little Christmas presents. Just show up on May 11th for that first training. Will you guys put May 11th in the chat box for me? May 11th, that's the next live training. That's where you want to be. And everything else is like a little present that you can open up when you're ready. If you feel called to transform your body, open up that course. If there's an opportunity for you to strengthen your relationship with your significant other, add more passion, more zest, more spunk, open that course. If you want to go to a workshop that month, go to the workshop. But this is about ease for you, about being in a community that constantly has your back so you don't have to worry about falling off again, because there's only one thing worse than gosh, I blew it, and that's gosh, I blew it again, and I know that because I've been there before, okay? So let's wrap up this party. A couple questions that came in that I want to answer is, can you refund at any time? You can test drive it for 30 days, okay? So if you don't love it, you can reach out to our team. But remember, Tony goes live May 11th. And those events are so potent, so powerful. We've even had Sage Robbins join at those events. They're really incredible. So block your calendar off for that time or that day, and the time and everything else will come. But yes, you can test drive this. That's why there's no risk. You might be wondering, am I a community person? Well, you never know. You might be a this community person. So lean in and test it out. Is this the best deal? Hands down. I cannot express that enough. To have the ability to learn and infuse yourself into these teachings will not only transform your life, but also your community, your family. Who has kiddos, by a show of hands? The gift of your kids being able to listen to Uncle Tony while you're training, you're rewiring the behavior of not just you, but the future generations to come. So it's a huge gift. You can be the lighthouse. It's a great way, $97 a month, to have your friends and family also have access to this because you decided for your life. There's no better gift you can give to you and your loved ones than you being the most unleashed you can possibly be. So that's all I got for you guys. This is really a commitment between you and you. 97 bucks you're going to throw on the table, and you're going to say, listen, me, I am dedicated. I am unavailable for a life less than I am capable of having. And that's what this opportunity is. That's what Inner Circle is. We're so excited to see you on the inside. And please make a decision either way. But go and do this right now, because this is not going to last forever. This is a short window. When the countdown timer hits 0, you've got, I think, 48 or 72 hours or something to get in. But go to Tony'sInnerCircle.com. And if you're in, put all in the chat box right now. Or put the word glitter, and then we can all shine together in the next season of our lives. I cannot wait to see you guys there. We're going to leave this link up. Go in, go read, go say yes, and we'll see you on May 11th live with Mr. Tony Robbins. Welcome to the Inner Circle family, and we will see you guys soon. Have a good one. Bye. Crank the energy. Yes. All right, go get signed up. We'll see you soon.